Telepathic DNA 2022, coming at you from LA. Apologize for the background noise. It's early morning. The traffic is starting to flow through here. I just recorded like a 10-minute video, and I was just getting into the heart of it. The cannabis, how it affects our lives, especially as habitual users. Obviously, been a habitual user. Just looking at me, you can probably tell that. Unfortunately, that video got deleted about 9 minutes in, so here we are again. We're going to shoot it again. Let me try to cut some of the BS out. Basically, cannabis. I was stuck in the cannabis for a long time. I have been smoking weed for about 10 years, and it's been a crutch for me emotionally. When I realized after all this time, what I really wanted the most was just a connection with people. And being in Los Angeles, you can kind of see how that addiction can take over a person. When people are smoking weed to complete everyday tasks. For me, it started out as, oh man, I'm working this shitty fucking pizza delivery driver job. I can't do this sober, you know? So most of my grunt work tasks were performed just when I was stoned, just to get myself through the day. And so, and being in the skate world, smoking and skating, it kind of just snowballed out of control for me. Because I tend to travel alone. Like, I left Dallas, Texas in my early years. Like after I graduated high school, alone. I went from Dallas to Kentucky, to Florida, Jackson Hole, Wyoming. Ended up in Los Angeles, San Diego, Utah. I've been everywhere. However, like the majority of that time, I had a screen and I had the green. So, after being sober for the past week and coming back to reality, I can see that what I really wanted was the ability to communicate with people, and being stuck in the cannabis, I've lost my ability to communicate effectively. So I've been sober for like a week now, and the longest I've been sober in my 10-year career of smoking weed was about it was only like 3 weeks, but I can remember the time being sober, and it's just, I feel free. I'm free from the addiction. Whereas if you would have told me a few weeks ago I would be quitting weed for good, I probably would have just laughed. I was the type to just wake up, smoke, smoke before I drive, smoke before I eat. Any task I was going to perform, I would just smoke first. And I think a lot of that was just to cope with the fact that we're all low-key slaves, but that's also a choice, being a slave in this matrix. That is completely a choice. So the way I started to break out of the slavery of the matrix, because if you look into the world we live in, there's a top 1% of people who basically employ the rest of the world. The world structure has never really changed. We think that we're free now. But if you're working 70 hours a week and paying someone over a close to half of what you're making, you're not free. So, and I realized if I'm addicted to this drug, if I'm smoking weed every day, I'm not free from that either. So my whole journey since I left Dallas, Texas, was to find a sense of freedom. And here I am using this plant that just, yeah, it might help me to cope with the lonely times, but it also blocks out spiritual messages from the Creator. It blocks out dreams from the Creator. God speaks to us in dreams. So I've been absent-minded to His Word ever since, I've had some sober stints here and there, and then now that I'm coming back, I can see how I've been blocking out uh, the breadcrumbs, the synchronicities, the spiritual breadcrumbs. Um, so presence brings you back to life, and the cannabis, depending on your use. Just a disclaimer, a late disclaimer. I'm not against smoking weed at all. Just as humans, we have the tendency to, kind of abuse things that we like. Whether it be, how many sequels of movies are there these days? Like Star Wars. There's like 10 Star Wars. Like, we just can't get enough of certain things, just because it's just like we never want it to end. But eventually, everything does come to an end. But there's one thing that I believe goes on, and that's our spiritual ability to pass on, our bloodline. Because we, in my opinion, and you don't have to agree with this, but we're all one, and we come back to repeat these lessons. So you will come back through your kids' kids. How you raise your kids will determine your future. It's kind of like a game, and this knowledge has been suppressed, hidden from us by the top, and that's how they stay in control. We can make another video about that. That's just like a brief, I don't know. That's another video. But when you have addictions and families and they're stuck in the rat race and the matrix, it's hard for people to make it to the top. It's actually not designed for you to break free from the matrix. So being sober and waking up and not having to consume or fill my lungs with smoke anymore has been another act of freeing myself from this thing that we find ourselves in, where people walk by each other and they don't even look at each other, and when they do, it's just like an uncomfortable look, or that's not how humanity was supposed to work together. We're supposed to be, if you see, we're just supposed to be a closer community, and the fact that we've been so far divided is like a direct, it's by design. It's by design. And so habitual vices, especially smoking weed, I feel can further divide people. It just takes away presence when you're doing it habitually. And so, yeah, I think there is a abyss, like the abyss of can, and that would be just a ceremonial use of marijuana, because it hits different when you're not smoking it every day. Like, you will have a different experience, and I believe that is a more organic experience for you to